On Global TV News Express, President Tinubu arrives Kano on sympathy visit to Dantata's family special prayers. Observed for Buhari at Abuja National Mosque. Others in business, the electricity subsidy jumps 220%, nears 2 trillion naira. And on the foreign team, Ukraine appoints new prime minister, a major cabinet reshuffle. In sports, PSG plot Osimhen hijacked as Napoli cut striker from pre-season squad. Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Express on Global Television. Coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja, I am Jumai Manson. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channels 365 and Star Times channel 276. Now the news in full. A special national prayer has been observed in honor of late former President Muhammadu Buhari at the National Mosque in Abuja today. We'll bring you details later. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has arrived Kano to condole with the Kano state government and the family of Alhaji Aminu Dantata, who passed away in Abu Dhabi, UAE on June 28th. The renowned businessman and philanthropist died at the age of 94 and was buried beside his wife's grave at the Al-Baq Cemetery in the holy city of Medina, Saudi Arabia on July 1st. President Tinubu was out of the country at the time of Dantata's passing, but directed some of his ministers, led by Defense Minister, to attend the burial in Saudi Arabia and to mark the honor for the late monarchian. The Federal Executive Council has held a special session in honor of late former President Muhammadu Buhari, who passed away on the 13th of July 2025. The solemn gathering took place at the council chambers of the Presidential Villa Abuja with high-ranking officials, ministers and dignitaries in attendance. Chairing the special session of the Federal Executive Council, President Bola Tinubu stated that his late predecessor was guided by the principles of integrity, simplicity, noting that he brought selflessness into decades of public service. Here is Uyi Agbamofuegbe's report.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who presided over the special Federal Executive Council meeting, which began with a moment of silence observed in memory of the late president, said Buhari served Nigeria with distinction, both as a military head of state and a two-term democratic president. Tinubu stated that the late ex-president Buhari maximized every opportunity of service he had in driving policy actions that elevated the lives of those he served, both in uniform and as a democratically elected president.
Yet, with all that he had achieved, his most enduring legacy will be carved in democracy, in a time when men had lost hope that change was possible. Muhammadu Buhari put his faith in the people of this country.
In his speech, President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, said the late former president believed in an ideology bigger than self, resolving instead to pursue objectives that served the best interests of the nation. He said the late former president labored for legacy, taking a hardline stance against the tendency to chase fame and public applause.
He gave everything he had to a country that asked everything of him. President Muhammadu Buhari was not perfect. No leader is. But he was a very principled man.
Speakers at the session described the late president as a man of integrity, discipline, and deep commitment to national development. His tenure was marked by a strong anti-corruption drive, bold infrastructure initiatives, and efforts to stabilize the nation's security architecture.
Into the fabric of our republic, in this very chamber, where he once presided with purpose and principle, we remember President Muhammadu Buhari, a sentinel of service, a steward of simplicity, and a statesman shaped by sacrifice.
Muhammadu Buhari was a towering figure in Nigeria's national life, an embodiment of discipline, integrity, and unflinching dedication to the service of our country.
Born in 1942, Muhammadu Buhari led Nigeria as a military head of state from 1983 to 1985 and returned decades later as a civilian president, serving 2 terms from 2015 to 2023. His passing marks the end of an era in Nigeria's political history. Today's special council meeting is one of many events lined up to honor his life and legacy. More tributes are expected in the coming days as the nation mourns a leader, a father, and a soldier whose name is forever etched in the annals of Nigeria's history. Uyi Agmofwegbe reporting for Global TV News.
In the meantime, days after the passing of Nigeria's former president Muhammadu Buhari, the town of Daura came to a standstill as family, friends and dignitaries gathered for his 3rd Faudir prayer, a moment of reflection, reverence and remembrance for a man who once held the nation's highest office. Over now to Kabir Hassan's report.
In Daura, Katsina State, prayers echoed across the town as dignitaries, relatives and sympathizers gathered for the 3rd day Fidao prayer in honor of late former President Muhammad Buhari. The solemn Islamic rite held at the Central Mosque in Daura drew traditional rulers, Islamic scholars, members of the Federal Executive Council, political allies and residents of the ancient town. Leading the prayer was the Chief Imam of Daura, Imam Salisu, who offered special supplication for the repose of the former president's soul, as well as peace and unity for the country. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who was represented at the occasion, while governors, lawmakers and dignitaries from across the country paid their final respects, a testament to Buhari's national legacy. As the ceremony ended, prayers continued quietly in clusters, with many reflecting not just on the man Buhari, but on the legacy, leadership, discipline and nationhood he left behind. Kabir Hassan reporting for Global TV.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has approved the renaming of the University of Maiduguri in Borno State to Muhammadu Buhari University in honor of his predecessor. The announcement was made by Bayo Ononuga, Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, via a statement posted on his official X account. Ononuga stated that the renaming was formally made during a Federal Executive Council session held in Abuja to pay tribute to the former President Muhammadu Buhari. The national youth leader of the All Progressive Grand Alliance, APGA, Eze Enyebuchi Chiku, has urged President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to take steps towards the creation of additional state as a means to correct the imbalance in Nigeria's geopolitical structure. Chiku made the appeal in an open letter to the president, which was released in Abuja, highlighting that there is a clear imbalance in the composition of the country's 6th geopolitical zone, noting that while some zones consist of 7 states, others have only 6 or even 5. Over now to the Defense Headquarters has dismissed claims of the emergency of a new terrorist group in Nigeria as recently alleged by the Turkish ambassador to Nigeria. Reacting to this development while addressing newsmen on the operational activities of the military in Abuja, the Director, Defense Media Operations, Major General Marcus Karingay, described the allegation as false and without credible basics. Kike Lomo Okere has more.
When Muhammadu Buhari campaigned for the presidency in 2015, one of his core promises, and perhaps the most urgent, was to bring an end to Nigeria's growing insecurity. As a former military head of state, we
apologize for that report, and that report will be brought in a subsequent bulletin. In an effort to provide requisite skills and means of carrying out a comprehensive voter registration assessment, the Electoral Institution, on behalf of the Independent National Electoral Commission, has organized a methodological workshop for field agents and local guides in Akwa, Anambra State. Acting Director General of the Electoral Institute, Professor Ibrahim Sani Saeed, the methodological workshop is designed to equip field agents with requisite skills such sets to enable them effectively carry out the voter registration assessment in preparation to the forthcoming Anambra State governorship election, and also designed to provide empirical evidence for precise strategic interventions to enhance the reliability of the registered voter. He emphasized on the Commission's disposition to planning and executing elections, hence the need to equip field agents with necessary knowledge and skills for executing the voter register assessment. He charged them to conduct the survey with the highest sense of integrity, credibility, and transparency. The High Court of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, says the international passport of the ex-governor of Kogi State, Yahaya Bello, was not in its custody but in the care of the Federal High Court, Abuja. At the resumed hearing of the alleged money laundering case instituted by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, against him, Justice Mariam Anyenye held that the court would have considered the application for the release of the defendant's travel document if not were to be in its custody. The judge held that even if the request to retrieve the document were to be granted, it would be part of no effect since the passport was not in the custody of the FCT High Court, but with the Federal High Court before Justice Emeka Uwente. You are watching the live broadcast of News Express. When News Express returns, Ukraine appoints new Prime Minister, a major government reshuffle. Details coming shortly, plus business and sports stories on the other side of this break. Please stay with us. You're welcome back, and if you're just tuning in, this is News Express on Global Television. Thank you for staying with us. In business now, the federal government's electricity tariff subsidy has jumped from 610 billion naira in 2023 to 1.94 trillion naira in 2024, representing a 219.67% increase in yearly subsidy funding, despite the Band A tariff hike of April 2024. The Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NERC, and analysts observed that the subsidy figures rose following the floating of the naira by President Bola Tinubu in June 2024, as well as the removal of fuel subsidy leading to high inflation rates. The commissions added that the federal government incurred a total electricity tariff subsidy of 1.94 trillion naira in 2024 to cover the shortfall between the cost-reflective tariffs and the actual tariffs approved for customers. It was reported that the federal government paid only 371.34 million naira out of 1.94 trillion naira subsidy obligation for 2024. This translates to 0.019% settlement. Now, on the Dangote Petroleum Refinery and Petrochemicals has uncovered a fresh racket involving some of its affiliate marketers and strategic partners who have been diverting subsidized refined petroleum products for profit, prompting the suspension of the refinery's discounted fuel supply scheme. Investigations by the refinery revealed that certain marketers who were granted discounted products meant to ensure affordability and steady supply across retail outlets have been rerouting the loaded trucks to unregistered third-party marketers. Now, the scheme was originally designed to support Dangote's registered affiliate marketers in achieving stable profit margins amid price competition from fuel importers, while also guaranteeing nationwide availability of the refinery's products. Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NAMASA, has shut down Shell Plugs and TMDX terminals, both located in the Ijegun-Egba area of Lagos, for violating the International Ship and Port Facility Security Code. In a release by the head of public relations at the agency, Osage Edward, the move was part of the agency's role as the designated authority for implementing the International Ship and Port Facility Security Code in Nigeria. The Security Code is an amendment of the SOLAS Convention, was developed by the International Maritime Organization to enhance maritime and port security, particularly for facilities engaged in international trade. On our foreign scene now, Syria's security forces are preparing to redeploy to Dar's majority city of Swalda to quell renewed fighting between Dar's and Bedouin tribes. In the Gaza Strip, an Israeli attack has hit 10 shattering displaced Palestinians in Al-Mawaz, starting a major fire and killing at least 5 people, including infants. The daily death toll in Gaza continues to mount, while at least 10 people killed in Israeli attacks on the Palestinian enclave in early morning hours of today. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has appointed a new prime minister and other key leaders in the largest government reshuffle since Russia invaded 3 years ago. Yulia Tymoshenko, 39, took over as prime minister from Denis Shmyhal, who had had the post since 2020. Following her confirmation by Ukraine's parliament, Tymoshenko previously served as first deputy prime minister and minister of economic development and trade, roles that brought her in close contact with the administrations of United States President Donald Trump. She was credited with negotiating a critical mineral deal between Washington and Kyiv earlier this year that helped thaw an initial frosty relationship between Trump and Zelensky. South Korea is set to end the decade-old practice of outsourcing adoptions to private agencies after a demand investigation concluded the country's government-endorsed foreign adoption program violated the fundamental human rights of adoptees. South Korea's Ministry of Health and Welfare said South Korea will introduce a newly restructured public adoption system under which the state and local governments take full responsibility for the entire adoption process. South Korea sent more than 140,000 children overseas following the devastating 1950-53 Korean War, when intercountry adoption was encouraged as a solution. And in sports stories now, Paris Saint-Germain are plotting to hijack Victor Osimhen's proposed return to Galatasaray as Napoli has excluded the Nigerian striker from their pre-season training camp. The 26-year-old has officially returned to Naples after his loan agreement with Galatasaray ended, but finds himself among 6 players omitted from the 30-man squad heading to Damaro Falgarida for pre-season preparations under new coach Antonio Conte. Osimhen had sent a medical note ruling him out of pre-season medical tests as he pushes for permanent transfer to Galatasaray following his impressive loan spell where he scored 37 goals in 41 appearances. Inter Milan are considering adding midfielder Christian Aulani to their €40 million offer for Ademola Lookman as they took to bridge the gap with Atalanta's violation of the Nigerian forward. Casamarcato said the Serie A giants have already agreed personal terms with Lookman, who is pushing for the move to San Siro, but their current offer of €45 million falls short of Atalanta's €60 million asking price for clubs within Italy. Inter are now weighing up including Albanian midfielder Aslani in player plus cash deal that could help meet the asking price and sway negotiations in their favor. Arsenal has agreed to deal to sign 17-year-old talented Salford City striker Will Wright. Fabrizio Romano says documents for Wright's signature are being prepared as Arsenal won the race for Wright's signature despite interest for several clubs. As Global TV News Express comes to an end, here is a recap of our top stories again. On Global TV News Express, we brought to you that President Bola Tinubu has arrived Kano to condole with the Kano state government and the family of Alhaji Aminu Dantata, who passed away in Abu Dhabi, UAE on June 28th. A special national prayer has been observed in honor of the late former President Muhammadu Buhari at the National Mosque in Abuja today. In business now, the federal government electricity tariff subsidy has jumped from 610 billion naira in 2023 to 1.94 trillion naira in 2024, representing a 219 plus 67% increase in yearly subsidy funding despite Band A tariff hike of April 2024. And on the foreign scene, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has appointed a new prime minister and other key leaders in the largest government reshuffle since Russia invaded 3 years ago. And finally, in sports, we brought to you that Paris Saint-Germain are plotting to hijack Victor Osimhen's proposed return to Galatasaray as Napoli have excluded the Nigerian striker from their pre-season training camp. And that's it on Global TV News Express. A quick reminder that Global TV is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen by using @GlobalTVNG. I am Jumai Manson. Thank you for watching. Good evening.